be able to use this. Okay, allow yourself to get comfortable. And we aren't going to go really deep here right at the beginning, but we are going to take some deep breaths and use a technique with those breaths. We do the take a deep breath, hold it to 4, and I count basically about 4 of holding the breath, and then exhale to the count of 8. That helps you to go deeper into relaxation. It can take you all the way into sleep. Exhaling to the count of 6 takes you to a peaceful, calm relaxation. If we do a 4, 4, and 4 breath, that helps us to just calm down. So let's do that once. Take a deep breath and hold it to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Waiting 4. And inhaling to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let that breath be out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And listen to the silence. Just relax your breath. Breathe normally, and you'll notice that your nervous system seems to have calmed down a little. That you're very present right here and now. If you're doing something else, please stop. Give yourself a few minutes here to actually pay attention to yourself. Because a lot of times when we're troubled with something, it's because we're paying attention to so many other things. We avoid the real issue. Where if we spend a few minutes just being with our feelings, we would learn something very important, something actually scientific. If you stay with a feeling right around 30 to 45 seconds, it's gone. If you actually stay with that feeling without letting your mind run off in different directions, you'll find that by the end of a minute, you actually are centered. But as long as you're trying so hard to think about other things, trying to push the feeling away, trying to suppress it, trying to do all kinds of things to it, you aren't really feeling it. When we feel something, there's usually a reason. The most important thing is to teach us something. The most important reason we have for feeling things is to understand that we have something to learn from that feeling or learn about this situation. That's why years after we feel like we're just great and we're all over that, all of a sudden up will pop a feeling and just feel devastating. And we immediately start fighting it. So give yourself those few moments to be with you and to just be okay with that. And if you haven't allowed your eyes to close, you can allow them to close now. And we're going to have a little image that we can work with on a daily basis. It would be best if you give yourself just a few minutes in the morning to do this exercise. Imagine that inside you, there is a whole little village of people. A little village of people we've started naming, excuse me, naming critical parents, nurturing parents, children, uh, guardians, maybe people that are very sad, people that are very happy. That's okay. There's room for everybody, and everybody has a good reason for being there. Everybody is a valuable part of you, and they have something to learn, something to understand. So, as you imagine that little village of people, you might pretend that you have maybe a little teepee. Maybe this is like a little native village, or maybe it's like a round table that you can file into in the morning, or that you can just give yourself a few minutes to relax. Maybe as you have a warm drink, and pay attention with your eyes closed and your breathing relaxed. Pay attention to which ones of your villagers are the loudest right now. Is it a fearful villager that is maybe young and just cringing away from everything? Is it a happy villager that maybe wants to go out and play, or wants to do something, wants to get a project started, doesn't want to be bothered with all of this other stuff? Slow down. Does it happen to be somebody that wants to be in charge of everything, wants to be in control of everything? Does that person have the skill? Now, I'm not saying they shouldn't be in control, but do they have the skill to allow everyone to be paid attention to? Do they have the ability to help one person or one group of people? Because if they don't, maybe their best job would be to control themselves, and to know that that one part of you is just very much in control. Are there others that are angry? Because those tend to be the loudest ones. Are they fearful or sad? And whichever feelings are coming up the loudest, if you have a pencil and paper, just take 3 minutes and write down angry one, maybe just a word or two about what it's about, or fearful, or sad, or happy. Whatever the loudest feelings are, let's start thinking of them in terms of loudness instead of strength, because sometimes the strongest feelings are really deep down. Sometimes they're very quiet. So take just a minute here. I'm going to count. We're only going to pick a couple. Who are the loudest people in your village? Relax and let the feelings come and just write them down. We'll take about another minute. And you can stop now. And in your village, you have someone that is like a governor, someone that is able to listen and observe. This observer self is very important. You might think of as a wise person or the internal medicine person that takes care of what you need. And that wisdom can begin to bubble up. And pay attention to those loudest people, the loudest villagers, or however you think of them. And notice if there's a group there of some kind that seems to persistently have a problem. And observe very closely the things that they're dealing with. Maybe situations external to you or situations that are internal. And this is just meant to be a beginning journey, a different way of processing things, because reading about them, precisely speaking them or writing them isn't necessarily processing them. Processing them deals more with understanding and actually deciding what you can do to help those things. What are some changes? Sometimes the very best change is to acquire information. Find out exactly where you stand in a particular problem. What is your part in it? Is there a part that even belongs to you? So acquire information and let that give you more tools to be able, with your reason and logic, to understand what's happening. And the next thing to do is to assimilate that information. And see, we get these things all mixed up in a different order. First, we have to know what we're dealing with. Then we assimilate that information into some usable form. And we decide what are some first steps Like these are very basic first steps to begin with. And just relax and go deeper, because this is a good time to drift down into that wonderful place of insight that we all have. It just gets crowded out with sometimes too much of the wrong information and not enough that pertains directly to your difficulty. Acquiring information is being aware that you have the problem, like reading the laundry list. Assimilating it is understanding what effects it has on your life. What of those effects are you willing to change? And then what beginning change can you make? And make it fearlessly. Because here's the secret. Many of us fear positive change just as much as we fear negative change. Sometimes wonderful things can happen and they can just be unnerving for a simple reason. Here's where you acquire information. The reason they do that is because they're unfamiliar. And that's not a reason to lose a beneficial change, but it is a reason to understand why you would feel a little nervous about it. If it's not a thing we're familiar with, we haven't become comfortable with it, you can expect a little bit of, sometimes people call it anxiety, and it can be that, but anxiety is also something another person might process as excitement. After all, when we ride a roller coaster, some people are terrified of that, but other people think it's just exciting. You can go to a movie that scares you because you might enjoy that. And you can also realize that you got all through that. You came out of it okay. And you can enjoy that strength, knowing that you just enjoyed the excitement of being safely scared. It's like that roller coaster. You don't want it to be a real threat. You just want it to be safe, scary. What are the chances that the thing that you're going through is actually safe and you just don't know enough about it? And even that statement enables you to move from anxiety into curiosity. Curiosity and information gathering. Acquire information. Make it accessible. Assimilate it. Use it in some way. What are some small changes that you can make? Now, here's another secret. People try to make changes that are too big, and then they get scared and they feel like they've failed. Sometimes they wind up with big piles of failure instead of a lot of little piles of success. If you want to stop doing something, for instance, stop doing it for one day at a time. You might even stop doing it for 1 hour, sometimes 1 minute. And if you can make it that far, you can make it farther. Many of us actually keep track of how many days we have in recovery, how many weeks or months or years we have. But each one of those measurements of time, even decades, starts with 1 minute. It starts with one breath. It starts with one moment of relaxation in which you look at what you need and you say, I can do this. I am capable. I may not be able to face the rest of my life with it, but right now I know I can make it the rest of the day. Imagine how those minutes and hours and days add up. If at some point it stops and maybe today you made it 2 hours. Tomorrow, if you make it 3 without having that thing come up again, you made it an hour longer than you did today. Be proud of that progress. We aren't perfect. We want progress. Steady, slow, reliable progress. Because that's the kind of thing that lasts. But to make progress, we have to get that information and we have to assimilate it. We have to be able to put it in our internal tool chest. And then we are ready for the third A. This is triple A. The third A is act. Until you can acquire information about your behavior, until you can assimilate the knowledge and skills that you're learning about, you cannot reliably act. You can start out very quickly and you can act for short periods of time, but the danger is if you fail, you might very well think that you just are done. You can't do any better. That is never true. Never true. Where if you understand what's going on, acquire that understanding, acquire that information. Each step of your behavior, break it down into smaller parts, and then assimilate it. Understand how you're getting ready to change those things, and then try out those changes. Try them out with the understanding that you are trying them out. And that's the beauty of this work you're doing right now. Take a moment and think of something you would like to change and think about a different way of doing it. It can be anything. Just think about a different way. Just take a moment to do that and take a deep breath and go deeper as you do that. Go into that deep point of relaxation and allow that information to come up. Allow it to benefit you. It's a different way of doing that. Now, here's the good part. Think of another way to do it. You may even have 4 or 5 different ways that you can do that same thing. You can try them out in your thoughts. People used to just call this thinking about things. Now they tend to call it more meditating. But try those things out in your thoughts and see which ones are the most successful. Now, what'll probably happen is you'll see some success in multiple different ways of doing things. Gather up those successes and create a way that is more geared towards success because you've already tried them out and you're ready to act. So you access or acquire the information about the behavior you want to change. You assimilate it. You make it useful to yourself. Meditate on it. Think of the most probable way that you'll have some success and then act. If it works out, that is an excellent choice. You might want to fine tune it, or you might want to say that isn't the desired outcome. It doesn't mean you failed. It means you've learned a different way you don't want to do it. Just learn a different way that you don't want to do it. You may have a whole bunch of those. And then you'll find success. Each piece of information tells you more about what it is that you're doing, what it is that you can succeed with, and what one thing are you choosing to work on today. That's where we're actually looking at those things in the morning when we take that few minutes to get in touch with our little village of people. See which ones are the loudest, which ones are the quietest and maybe being overlooked. And the person to do that is the person that's been listening to me all this time, listening thoughtfully and making choices because you are the leader of that tribe. And you're the one that makes the choices. You are the adult in the room. All of the rest of that comes down to this. Your adult self carries the wisdom to actually carry those choices through and to enjoy outcomes. Now, just relax and go deeper. Allow your nervous system to completely reset. Allow any questions in your mind to realize that there is an answer right next to it. For every problem, there is a solution right there in your thoughts. And you go deeper, following your breath, riding it down through your entire body. The deeper you go, the better you feel. And the better you feel, the deeper you go. Until your nervous system completely resets, moves into a point of relaxation that is so profound that you can enjoy the rest of your evening, that you can actually allow yourself to drift into a comfortable confidence that allows you to be able to understand what your next steps are. It's easy, just AAA, because that's the kind of thinking you have. AAA. You access information about yourself and understand it. You look with curiosity. You look with confidence, knowing that you'll be able to understand and to make changes right from the core self. Because this part of you that's listening right now and making those positive changes is your true self. It's the one that always tells you the truth. And if there's any truth that needs to be changed because you get more understanding and more information, you can smile and say, yes, I used to believe that, but I've stopped believing it now because I know better. That's all it is. I've stopped believing that anymore because I know better now. I know I deserve love. I know I feel confident. I can move into a room with curiosity and think what wonderful opportunities there are to know and understand more about my life. These are statements that you make within yourself to bring yourself into a state of healing and calm, peacefulness and joy, because we have a purpose in life to be happy and to be who we truly are. You have that ability to be happy, to be who you truly are, to be free, to be safe, to be confident, to be kind. You have the possibility to be and experience yourself as any way that you choose, because you deserve love and you deserve the joy that comes with knowing who you truly are. And just begin to drift down for just a moment to a place where you can use every suggestion that is beneficial for you. If there are any that you don't understand right now, you could put them on a shelf. Take another look at them later. They might be helpful, or they might not be for you. But you have that choice, always. And in just a minute, when I count from 1 to 5, at the count of 5, when you open your eyes, relaxed, refreshed, deeply at ease, ready to enjoy the rest of your evening, to sleep well tonight, to allow your dreams to be meaningful and to give you information that you might have been looking for a long time. And now you're ready. So number 1, just begin to come up. Number 2, feel your weight on that welcoming surface beneath you. Feeling the comfort coming with you into your everyday waking state. Number 3, just feel the need to stretch and move around a little bit to enjoy the support, because we always lean on things that support us and never on things that don't. With the number 4, just take another deep breath, wiggle your fingers and toes. And number 5, just open your eyes, wide awake and feeling wonderful in every way. All the way back. All the way back.